Football 2024 in crystal clear HD stereo. Today's pregame show is brought to you by
Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. Arrow Exterminators, official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Buffalo Wild Wings. Blockchain.com. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
All right, it's a Week 10 football Sunday here at AT&T Stadium, Miller Lite West Plaza, and it could not be more gorgeous. Are you kidding me? Bryan Broaddus here live in the flesh, Super Bowl champion, and we're soaking it all in right now. The party has begun, and the countdown to kickoff is underway already under 3 hours to a Cowboy game where they're looking for their first home victory of the season, looking for win number 72 all-time versus the hated Eagles. They'll be doing it without Dak Prescott, and it sounds like they're probably going to be doing it without Jonathan Mingo as well, the newest addition, fourth-round pick, trade deadline, bring in the big-body wide receiver from Ole Miss and most recently the Carolina Panthers, but I don't think we're going to get the Brad Sham touchdown call rush to Mingo today, Broaddus. That's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. We'll get the inactives an hour and a half before the game. It just feels like to me that, when you make the trade and then trying to get him acclimated, I'm sure he's come in and done the best he could to try and get as much knowledge of what's going to happen, the game plan. I just kind of my own personal experience is I feel like when we get that inactive list that he might be on, it's just probably asking too much of him to be able to play this week and be effective. So just keep an eye on that. Christy Scales will give us that. But my gut feeling is that he probably will not play today.
All right. Well, it's great to have you in the official pregame show of America's Team, brought to you by Reliant and NRG Company, live from AT&T Stadium, the Miller Lite West Plaza. Come see us if you're making it out for today's game. Again, Cowboys looking for that first home win of the season. How sweet it would be to watch all these chummy Eagles fans right now here, Broaddus, that we see a lot of Kelly Green. Okay, you'd love to see those fans coming out of here with a sad face. What a spoiler that would be for Cooper Rush. I can't imagine how loud and obnoxious things would get for these Eagles in Filthy if they find a way to lose this game today. And I want to start with a little bit of that excitement and that hope, watching these Eagles fans leave AT&T Stadium in sadness and Nick Sirianni hopping on a bird back to Filthy where everybody's ready to burn it down.
Yeah, the one thing that we've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles, though, the last 4 weeks, they've played against some really poor offensive teams, and they've taken advantage of that. They played against some poor teams. When you start to talk about the Giants and in Cleveland and Jacksonville, Cincinnati, I could say is maybe found their path a little bit, but they got beat by the Ravens the other night. So they're kind of record-wise, it's not very good. But they feasted. They have feasted on bad teams, and they've struggled a little bit against teams that play really good offense. They've struggled. If you look at what the losses that they've had. It's been against good offensive teams. That the Atlanta Falcons,
Bucks,
the Bucks,
Packers,
and people will say, the Eagle fans will say, well, hey, we were playing without our offensive linemen, we're playing without our receivers. I mean, this seems like what we're talking about is the Dallas Cowboys. With the news with Dak Prescott this week and Cooper Rush being the quarterback, and you're going to get a couple of guys back, but it still just seems like that you've had to deal with so many injuries throughout, and I think the Eagles have taken advantage of some teams, and they're a good football team. They really are a good football team. They play well at quarterback. The running game we mentioned with Saquon Barkley, the offensive line, it's probably not as good as the offensive lines that they've had in the past, but I'll tell you what, they still find a way to move the ball, and we mentioned it earlier. Kellen Moore, he's going to be out here to try and punish Dallas. I mean,
he's out for blood today.
Yeah, this is going to be a game where you're Nick Sirianni. You do not want to lose this football game. I mean, you don't want to lose any games, but especially this one against the Dallas Cowboys.
So what would be the path to victory today for the Cowboys offensively now that you insert Cooper Rush? Yeah. Do you think there's any chance we see some Trey Lance today? Do we get some Lance packages?
I wouldn't put it past. You just,
I mean, why not?
Just make sure though, if make sure you don't get 12 dudes in the huddle. If we're gonna have special packages,
maybe we should crawl before we walk here.
If number 19's coming on, make sure that number 10 comes off. Don't let 12 men get in the huddle and all of a sudden I could see some stuff down and maybe. Now, the one thing that when we were in Oxnard, the thing that Trey Lance had some problems with was red zone. Remember the red zone practices, and there were untimely, the interception. Jordan Lewis is standing there. Bland standing there. He doesn't see it. The more that the field would condense, the harder it was for him. He's had some really good reps before, but it's been a little bit of like, say, I worry about, okay, where are you inserting him into the lineup? We've seen Dallas before, even in Pittsburgh, where they tried to run that off-tackle play, and Dowdle gets hit, ball's on the ground, and, you just don't want to have an opportunity, some wasted possessions. We saw it earlier today in the Giants game. They had some empty possessions in that game against Carolina, and ultimately it cost them the opportunity.
Yeah, that Giants game, absolutely hilarious
with
the way they took that out.
To your point, I think you will see him. I mean, maybe there's some things that, maybe you get in a little flow. I don't know if it's Dallas needs to think about the up-tempo stuff. You remember last week against Atlanta when they were playing from behind and they went a little bit more up-tempo there. I kind of feel like that maybe the Cooper Rush he's got a feel for that stuff. He knows where he wants to put guys. He knows where he wants to go with the football. We've got 3 hours today to talk about on defense, or on the Eagles defense, where to go to ball. I think there's a couple of spots there, and if you try and run the ball, Sweat being on the field, that's kind of been one of those things where him on the field, it's a 5.3 yards a carry off that edge.
Wow.
Him off the field, they're 3.6. So, their edges have had some problems playing but it's got to be, are you good enough to take advantage of when Sweat and others are on the field? When Brandon Graham's on the field and Smith, that's a little bit different thing for them. Graham's a little bit more of a physical player. But you just can't keep dropping back, even though this team has faced, I think they're 8th in the league in facing dropbacks this year. So there hasn't been the fewest dropbacks. I mean, they haven't seen a whole lot. Dallas leads the league, and that's because people run the ball against Dallas. They don't have to drop back. They can find a way to move the ball by running it. But
right.
The Eagles have been kind of a team that teams have not thrown a lot of dropbacks on. So we'll see how that all plays out.
So getting Rico going off the edges might be the play there, because those Eagle edge rushers, they want to get up the field and get after the quarterback.
Well,
Is that where they're susceptible?
Well, hey, miraculously, all of a sudden you have Rico, who we think is the best option. Well, then Ezekiel Elliott all of a sudden is, something has happened where he went from being like, I need help and I need to take a moment here and catch breath, to all of a sudden, back to practice, here we go. How does that going to play out today? I mean, I don't see him off the edges, though. But Dalvin Cook a little bit, if you could get some stuff. The problem Dallas has is they just don't block well enough at the point of attack with their tight ends. Everybody else seems to get some type of push. Schoonmaker's playing less and less. Spanford's playing more, but you're not getting anything out of that.
Right.
You need to, how committed will Mike McCarthy be if he has some success? Just load that thing up and keep going with it. Find you some plays. You got that massive, Cheesecake Factory menu you look at every day. It's got, 3-4 pages to it.
It's substantial.
Find 5 or 6 plays you feel like can work against these guys and keep going to it until Philadelphia finds a way to stop you.
Do you expect the offense to look similar, though? I mean, whether it's Dak, Cooper Rush, kind of the same deal?
You talked about the waggles and the boots. We'll probably see a little bit of that, but how mobile outside the pocket and throwing on the run is Cooper Rush?
Yeah, not much.
It's not. If it's going to be the waggles, the boots, but it's going to be like little half rolls, not full get outside and go type of runs. I think it's going to be little half rolls. See if you could get Sweat and those guys to come flying down inside. And if you get them on the outside, now you got a chance to get, I told you about Gardner Johnson, the safety. He's the one guy that him and Reed Blankenship, the safeties, they've had problems in coverage. The corners have been good. When DeJean, the rookie, has done a really nice job. Mitchell's done a nice job. They got Maddox off the field because he's been giving up plays. They said, DeJean, no, you go play in the nickel now and we'll cover this thing up. And he's done a pretty solid job for them. So now, okay, where else do you look? Those safeties seem to have a little bit of some problems there.
Okay, so maybe a little Ferguson up the seam, obviously.
It's the edges in the run game, the safeties if you can match guys up. Sometimes they'll walk guys. They'll walk that Gardner Johnson. They'll walk him into coverage on the edge, a two-deep look, two safeties back, and then they'll walk him into a slot coverage. I'm telling you, every time I see him, I'm like, whoop, whoop.
That's the matchup.
Whoop. Yeah. If he's going to cover in this game, make him have to play in this game and make him have to cover.
You feel good about CeeDee Lamb and just the health status there?
Yeah,
you don't expect him to get hit on the first play and be limp?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, to me, I just kind of feel like that with Lamb, he's your best offensive weapon. You've just got to find a way to say, you know what, they're gonna try and cover him. They got two rookies that are playing in the secondary right now. We'll see what the situation is with Slay and all that. He was dealing with a groin injury, but it looks like he's going to play. Teams have kind of taken advantage of him at times. Dallas has had some.
He's like the one old guy on their defense now. I guess Gardner Johnson to an extent as well.
Yeah, they've had some. They've done a pretty good job of some coverage stuff when, like I say, but Slay has had his moments where he's off coverage. How healthy is he with the groin thing? I test him right off the jump. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's carry you on a route. Let's carry you inside. Put somebody out there running against him and make him have to turn and go and see if you can nick him up just by the route.
Right.
And get him off the field and then, go another direction.
I love it. What about these linebackers? Zach Bond seems like he's playing some good football right now.
They've got
Nakobe Dean looking more impressive.
Nakobe Dean is a shorter line, super active, though. But
had a great pick. Was it last week?
They're
in the end zone.
They're very aggressive. They're very, very aggressive in the way that they play. So if you can maybe get them going one way and then take advantage of, but Bond is going to be he's going to be the one that's going to make the run tackles. He's the guy that when you look at run stops, tackle stops on running play, he's going to be the guy that has most. Him and Dean are two of the guys that lead the Eagles in that.
And it's now it's the old school DC Dick Fangio back and better than ever. He's got these guys playing pretty well, and they're so young. I mean, they've revamped it. It's a bunch of new faces.
Well, it starts inside, and and how much are you going to be able to with
Jalen Carter?
Yeah, that's it. And Zach Martin last week, he gave up 7 pressures. And we really didn't think that the Falcons were going to be all that good with their pressure, but it was twist game in front of him. Him and BB, they've had some problems. BB Smith, they've kind of done some things. You'll be interested to see if the Eagles just determine that they're going to go and just play, if they're going to move their front and make the Cowboys have to adjust to that, because they've had some problems with that, but they might just try to straight run over Zach Martin in this game. He's dealing with the shoulder injury, dealing with the back stuff. A lot of things going on there.
That's been one of the toughest things to have to watch this season.
Play's been declining there for sure.
And just the offensive line in general having their issues, but Zach Martin, and you he's dealing with injuries because the way that he's looked, this is not just an overnight.
Not the same guy, yeah.
It's not the same guy, and he's hanging on, and he's fighting. The fact that he's out there playing today, the toughness factor of it all, his quarterback's out, he could be like, just whatever, throw TJ Bass in there.
Yeah.
He's still going to show out. I did love the toughness we saw from CeeDee Lamb last week as well.
Yeah.
But hopefully these guys come out today with a little added energy with the Eagles in town. I mean, that's a shot in the arm. You get Micah Parsons back. We got to look at this Cowboys defense, take a look at this Eagles offense as well. But we're just getting started here. The official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys, 2 hours, 40 minutes to kick off. Let's go inside the Star with our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, and hear from the newest Cowboy, Jonathan Mingo. That's all next right here on The Fan.
Go behind the scenes at the home of the Dallas Cowboys with AT&T Stadium Tours presented by SeatGeek.
Doing things right and moving companies forward, Pollock Aurora is where solve happens. Call 855-239-5153 or visit pollock.com today.
All right, getting ready to hear from your newest Cowboy, Jonathan Mingo, here on the official pregame show of the Dallas Cowboys. Just over 2.5 hours to kick off. The Filthy Eagles are in town. Cowboys looking for that first home win of the season. We'll go inside the Star with Bobby Belt here in just a minute. And on deck, we have Tracy Wolfson, CBS's sideline reporter. She'll be with Jim Nance and Tony Romo on the call today, and she'll join us here in just a little bit. But right now, it's time for today's player profile. Here's the three-time Hall of Famer Chris Arnold with Jonathan Mingo.
Jonathan Mingo, welcome to the Cowboys.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
What was it like when you got the phone call that you got traded?
Well, it was kind of early, but I think I wasn't even up for like 20 minutes. I woke up, got some food. I had talked to my girl for a little minute. I played with my dog. I went back to the bed so I get back some more sleep before I head to the facility to do some drills. And I saw the owner had called me. I was like, I don't know why he calling me. And he was trying to talk. I ain't really heard nothing he said except for he traded. So he told me I'm trading. All right, it's all right. I'm like, I appreciate y'all and everything. Talked to my agent, I'm like, it's next. So happy to be a parent, the new beginning, first start for me, man.
Check this out. They've been scouting you a long time. They said way back when, before the draft, they had a lot of interest in you. I don't know if you know this, but the Cowboys have a history of liking big receivers like Michael Irvin, T.O., Dez Bryant. You fit the bill.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go out there and put my best version of football out there. My best version of football yet to be played yet, so I'm just trying to go out there and play.
In fact, CeeDee Lamb said first his reaction was, he's big as hell. That's a compliment.
I've been this size since college, so yeah. You know, like everybody out of Ole Miss, we are a big receiver. That's just a trend over there.
Let's ask you real quick about our pregame rituals. Anything you do in specific before a game? Music, eat a certain way?
I like to listen to music, pray, try to meditate, and I talk to my mom or something like that. That's about it.
You say pray, and you say your mom. You said she had a premonition and you might get traded?
Now, one of her friends, she said kind of like a prophet or something, said I was going to be traded like 3 or 4 weeks, told me not to be worried about it. She told me this the other day, though, so kind of weird how God works, but, you know, he do what he do.
And finally, you guys playing the Eagles. Your favorite receiver plays for the Eagles. Talking about A.J. Brown?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
He was the reason I went to Ole Miss. He used to hit me up, tell me to come to Ole Miss when I was high school, so I love watching the game, try to taste stuff from his game, try to apply it to my game. So it'll be fun watching him play 2 times a year this year.
I know you just got here. You feel comfortable?
I feel comfortable. First day of practice, everything feel normal now.
Excellent. Good luck this afternoon.
Appreciate you.
All right, there it is, today's player profile, the 3-time Hall of Famer Chris Arnold with your newest Dallas Cowboy, Jonathan Mingo. Cowboys trade a 4th-round pick to the Carolina Panthers. They bring in the second-year wide receiver, who they had pretty high on their draft board. They think pretty highly of him, though his production has not really met that standard to date. But it doesn't look like we're going to see him today, so that's definitely a bummer. I was looking to get that Cooper rush to Jonathan Mingo, Brad Sham TD call for TD Tuesday in the G-Bag Nation, but that's all right. Now it's time to welcome in Bobby Belt, Cowboys insider here on a Cowboy game day live from the Miller Lite West Plaza in his hoodie with the sun shining down. Bob, happy game day.
Hello, how are you?
Fantastic. I couldn't be better. Jonathan Mingo not playing today. Is this exactly what we thought was going to be the case? Or is this just assuming
we'll still see. But
eventually.
I don't think we'll see him today. But, I mean, they still got to do the inactives. But, yeah, this is – I think it was just too much. Like, we're trying to be interested to see what Bob thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's, with all the language and everything else. There was a play a couple weeks ago. I think it was Cooper's first game in Buffalo, where Keon Coleman, they got to the line of scrimmage, they had to tell him, like, you're running this. Go run this. And, like, this is what you're doing. So the communication, the language, everything else for the receiver and the practice time, it was just going to be too quick a turnaround. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised he's not necessarily available for this one. But, they'll get him out there, and he'll get some active reps here the rest of the season, I would imagine, and we'll see if it was worth it.
The return of Micah Parsons today, how much is that expected to help the defense, and do you expect him to just be like full go, no snap count limits, or?
Yeah, I mean, let's see exactly how much rust is there when he steps out on the field, and Philly's had some success taking him out of games at times, and so they've generally had a decent plan for him, and that's without coming back from an injury. So when he's out there today, look, I think that you got to be careful, especially with edge rushers and high ankle sprains, because of that flexibility they need to kind of bend the corner and dip under tackles and everything else. And so that can be really limiting. I remember Randy Gregory's rookie year; he had a high ankle sprain that kind of took him out the rest of the year because of that. And so that sort of thing has been known to hamper guys and linger a little bit on edge rushers. So, I mean, it'll be good to have him back out there today, but I wouldn't be totally stunned if he's still battling back a little bit and trying to, find himself. I don't know that we're going to see 100% Micah today, but it'll be good to have him out there because even 90% potentially Micah Parsons is better than what you typically have on the edge.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that I'm interested to see him and Carl Lawson on the field together, and see maybe you put them on the same side. I just feel like the left tackle – and then the running backs for the Eagles have had some problems and some blitz pickup stuff and, fit. And if you're going to get some pressure today, it's going to have to come from, I think it's going to have to come off that left side. Lane Johnson's been playing great over on that right side.
And Lane Johnson's always really good.
Yeah.
And when they've had him available, because he's missed a couple games this year. But, I think what you're getting from that group right there, if you could put Lawson and Parsons on the side, because I think Lawson's played well. Lawson's been good for you.
He's been better than I thought he was going to be.
I thought he was kind of, used up, and he's been more effective than I was anticipating. So that's good to get that production out of him. I also think, if you can get something from Osa on the interior, great. That'd be productive. That'd be helpful. But yeah, for the most part, I think it's going to have to come off that edge there.
The left side has been a little bit of a problem for them with Landon Dickerson over there as well. They've had some problems. I mean, you get a little bit some heavy-footed Becton, I think, too. Big guy, heavy-footed, rush him down the middle. He's got you all day. But movement seemed to give these guys a little bit more promise. It's got to be like Osa played so well last week, and the week before you've kind of felt like against the 49ers or before the bye week that he was going to have a little bit of a good run against Banks, but just didn't happen. So is this kind of the thing? You mentioned Osa. Is this was last week a turnaround game to kind of get him? Because he hasn't played well. You get to week 13, week 14, and he kind of starts to slow down.
Yeah, and so, you would hope that maybe this is reversed for you a little bit, and he's getting that, momentum a little bit later in the season this
Contract
time.
year, too.
Yeah, absolutely. But, it's something where there have been times this year where I think Osa's been good for them, even when he's not necessarily made an impact rushing the pass. I'm trying to remember which game it was. I think it was Pittsburgh or the Giants, where he got double-teamed most of the night. And almost
he got
all
double-teamed
your
pressures last week.
Your pressures came off of Osa getting double-teamed a few weeks back. And so he's somebody who he can make an impact even when he's not necessarily getting to the passer. But, other guys got to pick it up. Other guys got to play well. Now, if you want to try and figure out some different twists and stunts and get Micah twisting in behind Osa and do some different things, you might be able to have some success there. But again, this is a mobile quarterback who can evade the rush as well. When he's pressured, one of two things usually. A big play usually happens when Jalen Hurts starts running. Either they pick up a big play on offense or it's a big play for your defense and he turns the ball over, which he's done a lot better at protecting the football this year. He and Kellen Moore have found a nice mesh point where they seem to, they felt each other out well at this point.
Inside the Star with our Cowboys insider Bobby Belt here on the Cowboys pregame show. Anything else stand out? Kellen Moore, this Eagles offense as it stands right now. You have the Saquon element. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith looking pretty dang awesome this year too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not even mentioning the tight ends who are good. Dallas Goedert, the former SMU tight end, Calcaterra, good. And behind Barkley, they've had success running the ball as well. It's not just all been about Saquon Barkley. Gainwell's a decent runner as well. Bryan mentions they have some trouble in pass protection at times, but, man, running the football, it looks different than it did. Some of the concepts look different. I think the pass concepts still look like Kellen Moore to me for the most part. The posts, the deep crossers, that stuff in there still looks very much like sort of the Air Coryell concept that he's liked to run in the past. But the running stuff definitely looks different. And it's, even though it's not top of the league motion rates, it's more motion than Philadelphia's been used to in recent years. So that aspect is still coming to play for Kellen Moore. But I think it looks like Kellen Moore, since he left Dallas, has learned a couple things that have made him even stronger and a better fit for what Philadelphia wants to do today. I'm going to be fascinated today to see if he tries to get any touchdowns to offensive tackles in a Dan Campbell petty sort of play-calling way.
Yeah. I expect him to be out for blood today.
You think he'll call it? Which is the pettier thing that Kellen Moore can run today? A trick pass to a tackle or to run the ball 50 times just to prove he can run the damn ball?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's running the ball 50-plus times and still scoring a bunch. Maybe he knows that one or two plays that McCarthy just couldn't stand in his playbook, and he's like dialing up a touchdown on those particular plays, and nobody knows just how important it was except for him and McCarthy because it's the two plays that they fought over so much.
I don't know. What are we going to say? We're going to see 40 runs out of 23 formation today. Brian, you think that's what we're going to load up and run this afternoon?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, though. I will say this, though, and I want to get your opinion. If this game does stay close, I kind of feel like that Nick Sirianni will do something to maybe swing it to Dallas's way. He'll make some type of call or decision that he had a chance to go up 2 scores and he didn't do it, and now, he
that's how they lost to Atlanta.
Puts his team back in harm's way.
And it's how they almost lose every time they almost lose.
Yeah, he's not a good game manager. Absolutely. And that's something that you would hope would swing things your way. Now, I'm sure from Philadelphia's side, they may be thinking, look, if we're in a close game, we trust that Mike McCarthy's going to do something that swings the game in our way. And so this is, a stoppable force versus a movable object. Let's see which one of them gets pushed out of the way first. But, look, I think here's the troubling thing if you're Dallas the rest of the way. And this is just the honesty of it, whether Dak is gets his surgery and his season ends or whatever it is. The reality is that your very best game against good football teams is probably not going to be enough. You are going to need them to shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. You're going to need some help along the way. So, you're going to hope for your best game today, but along the way, you're going to need some Nick Sirianni help from you here to shift it this way, or a Jalen Hurts, kind of boneheaded read and throw an interception. And so that's what you're going to need is not just your very best football. You're going to need a little bit of their worst, too. And that's the unfortunate position that the Cowboys have found themselves in the rest of this way.
Do you expect to see any Trey Lance today?
I would think that it's possible we could see him in a red zone package. Some of the ways that, when Mariota was in Philadelphia, some of the ways that they used him there, you could see some packages. Even if it's not today, it may be something along the way where they look at some other ways that they can try to use him a little bit.
Real quick, Trey Lance football in the red zone during training camp, not really good.
No, this has to be him with running the ball.
Run the ball, baby.
Yeah. If it's Lance in the red zone, it's just please use your legs, all right?
Yes,
Because if he throws it, there's a good chance it's going to the defender. Bobby, you're a beast. We appreciate the time. Enjoy the game, bro.
I love you all.
Love you more. There he goes, Cowboys insider Bobby Belt, live here on the official pregame show of America's team. Let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Broaddus, the thing that'll take me off is if I see a Kellen Moore well-run screen game. Is that something that's a part of it with the Eagles right now? Because that was one thing we always lamented. Kellen Moore, the Cowboys offense in general for many years, they don't have a dialed screen game. Does he have it now with these Eagles?
Oh, because you look at with Goddard and others like that. But I told you about the wheel routes. Getting Barkley up the field. Maybe the Eagles will always run picks and a wheel out of that. I could close my eyes right now and see it. You get down inside, you're on the Dallas 38, and now get ready for the two picks inside, and here comes the wheel, and then Dallas not play it very well out of man coverage. I could absolutely see that happening.
All right, we're 2 hours and 20 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Let's welcome in CBS sideline reporter Tracy Wolfson next right here on The Fan.
Are you ready to elevate your barbecue game? Matt Pittman of Meat Church here, the official pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys. Whether you're a backyard griller, Cowboys tailgater, or a professional pitmaster, Meat Church has everything you need to make every meal a mouth-watering masterpiece. From our legendary seasonings, our fan-favorite recipes, tutorials and tips from barbecue experts, you'll be grilling and smoking like a champ in no time. Visit meatchurch.com.
Tracy Wolfson. She'll be on the call with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo today. She'll be joining us here in just a moment. As we look around the NFL here, Broaddus, it's pretty funny what is taking place. First of all, the Giants took an L overseas in Germany.
That would be me.
In overtime to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Broaddus, of course, took the Giants. In G-Bag Nation Survivor. You're just racking up the bet payoffs.
3 in a row.
It's 3 now? Is that
Three
what
in
it
a
is?
row.
The strange lady of the NFL continues.
Yeah.
The Steelers are up right now on the Commanders at FedEx Field. They're up 14-10.
Yeah.
So Mike Tomlin trying to go ahead and
no Robinson in that game right there, so it's going to be tough for the Steelers. Gave up $150 on the ground to the Giants last week, but no Robinson for the Commanders. That puts a lot of pressure, on that quarterback to have to get something done.
For sure. I mean, the Commanders' rushing attack this season has been outstanding. A lot of that has to do with the impact of Jaden Daniels and how defenses have to account for him, kind of like with the Ravens and with Lamar Jackson and stuff. But schematically, the way they're dialing it up there, Cliff Kingsbury's put together a nice rushing attack for sure.
Sure has.
And if that's going to be a little bit limited, and you know how the Steelers just like to muck it up and make it kind of an ugly game and win 17-16. And
they don't care about the style points at all.
No, they don't. So we'll monitor that one. But the crazy one is in Arrowhead right now. Kansas City down 14-3 with 2 minutes to go in the half to the Broncos. Broncos are up right now 14-3 on Kansas City. Bo Nix throwing 2 touchdown passes. I mean, and Mahomes and company can't even find the end zone to this point. So there's a little around the NFL for you here as we wait for Tracy Wolfson. But, looking at this Eagles team and where things stand right now, what have you seen from Jalen Hurts this year? Because it seems like he's taking care of the football better than he ever has.
Yeah, he has. He's done a really nice job. Now, you will every once in a while, as you mentioned, you will see that crazy roll to your right, hold the ball, instead of just throw it out of bounds. He'll, fire it into the middle of the field, and you're going, wait a minute, you shouldn't have done that. But far less of those types of bad plays from Hurts. He still holds the ball quite a bit, but the success rate of holding that football has been pretty good for him. I think overall, a 60% passer. He holds the ball for 3+ seconds. That has a lot to do with their offensive line does a nice job, especially I mentioned Lane Johnson off that right side with the protection. But with Hurts, I think a lot of it has to do with the running game with Saquon Barkley being in the mix.
All right, fantastic. Now it's time to welcome in CBS sideline reporter Tracy Wolfson. She'll be on today's call with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, and she joins us now here on The Fan. Tracy, happy game day to you. Thanks so much for giving us some time.
Thank you. I always love being in Dallas. You know that.
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
welcome to the train wreck, Tracy.
Well, it is a bit of a train wreck right now.
I'm not used to being here.
I was about to say that this is not usually your cup of tea when it comes. Usually involved with the big time people involved, the big time teams here. And I'm sorry we're not getting that done for you right now.
Yeah. It's still a big time game, though. Still a rivalry game between these two teams.
There you go.
No question about it. What did you learn talking with McCarthy and I'm assuming Cooper Rush? Obviously, we have no Dak Prescott this week, so being around the team, chatting with them, what's kind of the vibe right now?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't come out and said it specifically, but of course it is a must-win for this team. And I think they feel really comfortable with Cooper, of course. He's been in this position before. He started 6 games when Dak was out in 2022, and he won all of them except the game against the Eagles. So I think he comes in, having some more years under his belt, some more reps under his belt. I think they feel really comfortable, won't change too much. I think we'll see them try and rely on that run game, even though they're facing a run defense that's very good right now. But and the good news is having CeeDee Lamb back out there, just dealing with pain in his shoulder. But certainly they need to get the ball to him and find a way to do something to, handle this Eagles team that has won 4 straight.
Yeah, Tracy, you mentioned the Cowboys running game, and it really has been non-existent all year. But there's some things with the Eagles that you could kind of feel like that maybe off the edges. I mean, if you look at metrics and squint really hard, you could see guys on and off the field that have had, maybe that they're a little bit better with this guy or this guy on or off. But I just kind of wonder, you immediately go to that. Do you think that Dallas is just going to have that balance today to get anything done?
That's exactly what they told us. It's going to be about balance. They need to continue to do that. They can't get away from that. It's difficult if you get behind. So getting an early lead is going to be important. We'll see Rico Dowdle. I was told with Ezekiel Elliott, we will see him in goal line situations. They will do what they can to move the football, but they know they need to try and establish the run.
Tracy Wolfson with us here on The Fan. Now, we don't expect to see Jonathan Mingo this week, the newest wide receiver that the Cowboys just traded for. But what did you learn about that trade? And it seemed like a lot of people across the league were a little bit surprised by it.
Yeah, I mean, you will not see Jonathan Mingo out here. He just arrived, basically what Mike McCarthy said, late in the week, didn't really get any time out there, so you're not going to see him out here. They feel, though, they really liked what they saw with him in the draft. They feel he could be another addition, certainly another weapon. How long, that is until he actually gets integrated into the offense remains to be seen, but certainly you're not going to see him out here today. So it's just going to be a matter of time of whether he gets, when he can get caught up with what they're trying to do out here.
Yeah, Tracy, the thing with Dallas's defense, getting Micah Parsons back, I mean, I guarantee you that Mike McCarthy probably told you and the guys that having Parsons back is really going to be uplifting for this Cowboys defense.
It's a difference maker, it really is. And it's not just his talent and how he can play every position and what he does, but he's the heart and soul of this defense. He brings that energy to the team, and it's definitely something they've been lacking. They've dealt with a lot of injuries on the defensive end side of the ball, but I feel as though having him back is going to be huge. I will tell you what they told us is, first half of this game, they'll ease him in. He won't be out there all the time. They got to see where he is with that high ankle sprain returning after 4 games. But I can see, if he feels good coming out of halftime, it'll be a lot of Micah Parsons. And, of course, the Eagles know that. They know they need to have a package for him. I spoke with Saquon, and I love it because their relationship is so tight. Known each other for a long time, and Saquon actually told me he hosted Micah at Penn State. Micah said it was a big reason why he went to Penn State. The families are really close, so the two of them definitely want to be out here together, so certainly extra motivating for both of them.
Wow, okay, so I guess we can expect a Micah Parsons, Saquon Barkley jersey swap at midfield at the end of this one, Tracy.
I always laugh at that. I mean, coming from the college game, there would never be a jersey swap after a loss. But it makes me laugh every time you see rivals or big games come down to the wire, and yet they still find time to swap those jerseys. That's the NFL.
It is the NFL. It's a little crazy. What about from the Eagles side of things? What'd you find interesting catching up with them?
I think they're in a really good place, and I mentioned it, the 4-game win streak, and as Jalen Hurts told us, it just takes some time to get back into a groove. You're dealing with new coaches and new teammates and really just finding your way. I think everything's been they feel really comfortable, and things have been solidified. They've had some injuries on the offensive line, but they're feeling really comfortable with that protection right now. Guys are getting healthy. We're going to have all hands on deck when it comes to the weapons on the Eagles. You're going to have Devontae Smith. You're going to have A.J. Brown. Dallas Goedert is coming back. And then, of course, you have Saquon. So, it's going to be a difficult challenge for this Dallas defense. I think the Eagles feel they're in a really good position right now. They also have a very big game looming 5 days from now. So I think you'll see if they can maybe take a lead and feel really comfortable with where they are, they can maybe, handle some situations in terms of not giving guys as many reps as they would like. But certainly that would have to, be game specific depending on where they are in the third or fourth quarter. But they come in, I think, with a lot of confidence right now. But certainly on the road here in Cowboy Stadium, it's always a challenge for them.
Yeah, Tracy, I kind of was just thinking like Nick Sirianni game ball to Kellen Moore at this thing. Do you think that maybe Kellen Moore is kind of looking at this as, and he wouldn't say it, but kind of a little bit of like trying to put something on Mike McCarthy today if he can?
I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't mention it, but yeah, I mean, you've got to be, right? You're competitive.
Sure you do.
He's a competitive guy. He hasn't coached here yet, being on the opposite sidelines. Faced them when he was with the Chargers last year, but it was in LA. So no doubt he is excited for this one, I think. He wasn't going to come out and say that. I'm sure he's helped Vic Fangio in terms of preparing, especially for a guy like Cooper Rush, who he knows so well. So there's got to be that extra edge when you walk in to Cowboy Stadium. We asked him about, wearing the green, and he said, I never wore green in my life. He's like, I've always been a white and blue guy, whether it was from the Lions and other teams in the past. And so he's still getting used to wearing that green. So that should be an interesting chess match.
No question about it. Now, Tracy, you got a chance to be up front and center to Lamar Jackson versus Jaden Daniels a few weeks back. These Commanders, how impressed are you being around them and seeing them up close?
I have to tell you, I always talk about it teams, and I think I've spoken to you guys before about that. When you know a team has it from watching them on the sidelines, being with them in their meeting rooms, talking to the coaches and players, and right away we had 2 games with Washington, and so watching them, they have it. And it starts at the top with their ownership and Josh Harris, and then to their GM and Adam Peters, the hiring of Dan Quinn, and of course the drafting of Jaden Daniels. And then you build an offensive line slowly, and you bring in some defensive leaders to help that defense. And, it's really impressive what they've been able to do so quickly. I think the future is really bright. Jaden Daniels is extremely talented, but he's also so smart and acclimated so quickly as a rookie. And I mean, he puts that time and effort into it that, you ask the other players around him, they've never seen it before. He's always prepared. We could talk about the, virtual reality stuff he's doing, or the amount of time he spends, in the facility on off days or mornings. And I mean, it really stems from the top, but he is a crucial part of that. Very impressed with what they've been able to do. And so it's a big challenge in the NFC East. I think they're here for a long time.
Well, Tracy, this has been a real treat for us. We always appreciate it. We usually love to chop it up about your Wolverines and just give you a pat on the back for how awesome things are. But I won't even bring it up this time.
We're a basketball team right now, playing Wake Forest, I think, as we speak.
All of a sudden, you're a basketball school. I like the way you do that there, Tracy.
National
That's good.
Champion football to basketball school all of a sudden. I like this.
That's good. Well,
you can't
Tracy,
take away our trophy, though.
No, you cannot. Or yesterday's moral victory versus IU. I don't know if you're doing moral victories or anything, but
no moral victory. I'm not into that.
Yeah, no, you're old school, you're traditional, you're not jersey swapping, and you're not moral victory in either, Tracy. You're a beast. We appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the game.
Thanks for having me, guys.
There she goes, CBS sideline reporter Tracy Wolfson. She'll be with Jim Nance and Tony Romo today. The pregame show brought to you by the creators of the Buffalo Casino games, and that's the Cowboy Casino themed games as well. Kickoff with America's team on and off the reels with Cowboys themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. And we're sitting here just over 2 hours to kick off, boys and girls. She mentioned something interesting with the Commanders looming for the Eagles.
Yes.
Classic look-ahead situation here, Broaddus. Watch out for that. They might be looking ahead to Jaden Daniels, and you might see something similar going on right now with the Commanders versus the Steelers. And the Steelers, respectable opponent, no question, but they see the divisional game looming around the corner. Classic look-ahead spot.
Well,
take advantage, Cooper Rush.
Yeah, Philadelphia might be in the better position than what when you look at what's going on with the Commanders, but yeah, this is going to be everybody that's come into AT&T Stadium this year. By halftime, this thing seems to be over with. And I could fully respect why Nick Sirianni and his staff feel that way. If they all of a sudden this is a 30-10 game at half or something like that, then you could start. Okay, how do you want to play the second half? With no Dak Prescott and others here to maybe bring them back.
All right, looking at it right now, Commanders have the football, but they're down 10-14. 3 minutes to go in quarter number 2, so still a long way to go there. But yeah, maybe this is a look-ahead spot for the Eagles today as the Cowboys look for their first home win of the season. We are now at about 2 hours to kick off, and it's time to welcome in Babe Laufenberg. He's got the Cooper Rush and Jalen Hurts scouting report, and he brings it next right here on The Fan.
Cowboys Nation, it's time to get the giving season going.
Jerky, Jack Links, feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Under 2 hours to kick off Cowboys-Eagles here at AT&T Stadium. Babe Laufenberg set to join us here momentarily. And good news, we are under 30 minutes away from the inevitable Love Fest as we go behind enemy lines. The Love Fest between Bryan Broaddus and the voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese, a tradition unlike any other. We look forward to that here in just a bit. And, of course, Christy Scales will be giving us the scoop before too long as well. But right now, live from AT&T Stadium, we're here in the Miller Lite West Plaza. Let's go into the booth with the big man, Babe Laufenberg, to get you set for kickoff here. Babe, happy game day, bro. How are you?
Yeah, good afternoon. Good to be back at AT&T, although it hasn't been very kind to the Cowboys, as we well know. This season.
No, I mean, Babe,
I'm
trying to figure out, could we make history like with the you're undefeated at home last year,
right,
and then you go 0 at home the next year? That has to be a historical situation, and hopefully that's not the case. With the Eagles in town today, obviously there's going to be plenty of storylines, the Kellen Moore stuff, and everything to get into. Is this a look-ahead game with the Commanders on the horizon there for the Eagles? But Cooper Rush getting the start. Babe, what do you know about our guy Cooper?
Well, we know a lot about him, don't we? Because he's been around a long time. And what I didn't like about this week is you never heard anyone connected to the Dallas Cowboys organization say that this guy can play quarterback. Here's what we heard. He's smart. He knows the offense. He's been around. He's the same guy every day. He's always prepared. It sounds like I've been asked to give people recommendations that either work for me or that I knew, and I think, I cannot put my reputation on the line to recommend you. So what I do is I say, guy does not have a drug problem. To the best of my knowledge, he's never had a felony conviction. He's never killed anyone. And that's what it sounded like with Cooper Rush. Will somebody say, this guy is an NFL quarterback and we're going to go win with him? That was disappointing for me. The one thing I will give the organization credit for is they have kept Cooper Rush around, and for good reason. But you see all these guys, right? Marcus Mariota, he was in Atlanta for a year. He was in Philadelphia last year. Now he's in Washington. And it's hard for that quarterback to learn the offense, learn the players around him. So I think the best thing the Cowboys did was to keep Cooper Rush around. And this guy's ready to play. He does know the offense. He knows all that stuff. Now, the worst thing they did was not play him in the preseason. And I actually addressed that after the final game of the preseason this year. Cooper Rush is not a finished product. The notion that he played 2 years ago in 5 games, and it's not a guy that's played 80 starts, right? I would have got him some work in games in the preseason. That's me. So let me ask you guys. So Joe Flacco, he's got 200 starts under his belt. He can get off his couch, come play tomorrow for you. Cooper Rush isn't that guy. What did you guys think about not playing Cooper Rush in the preseason?
I was fine with it, Babe. You've certainly given a little bit new perspective with that, but I was looking to get a little bit more invested into Trey Lance, a guy with a little bit more youth and upside, and you invested a 4th-round pick in him, so that's kind of where my head was at the time.
Let me just say this very quickly, and I hate to cut you off, but I just want to say that there's 3 preseason games. There's room to play both of those guys. Give Cooper a quarter and a half and then let Trey Lance take over for the end of it, right? But
sure,
I just thought that was a mistake.
Yeah, but Babe, I think to Eric's point, they were hopeful that Trey Lance would be the second quarterback here. I think that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to give him every opportunity to win the second quarterback job, and he didn't do it. I think that's why he didn't play.
Well, and 2 years ago, Will Greer, if he had not been injured in that preseason,
sure,
they were trying to groom him to take Cooper
Absolutely.
Rush's job.
Absolutely.
But if you knew, at some point you knew Cooper Rush was going to be the guy. Trey Lance didn't show you enough. Get him out there and let him play some. Let him take snaps. We kept hearing over and over and over and over again from Mike McCarthy how important it was that Trey Lance has to just play. Well, guess what? It's important for the guy that's going to be your backup to play too, and that's Cooper Rush.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I think you make a really good point. I think this is where, and the point you bring up about nobody really, and I'm using the word respecting or talking about him as a quarterback, go out and find a way to win a game today you're not supposed to win. Now, he was probably not supposed to win a game against Minnesota when he went up there, against Kirk Cousins.
Sunday night.
So, if you could somehow win this game today miraculously, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, man, this guy he is an NFL quarterback. But see, everybody's thinking like he probably can't win this game because he doesn't have the defense that he had 2 years ago, or when he was making all those starts.
No question.
They're not giving. They're not letting him. They're not giving him the benefit of the doubt because everything is the defense won those games. You kept opponents below 20 points a game, and you were able to score 20 whatever to win games.
No question. But the other part is, this offense hasn't been very good with Dak Prescott.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
So
it
now
hasn't.
Now we're going to say, okay, Cooper Rush, it's supposed to be better with you. You're 7.5-point underdogs.
There you go.
We want you to go win this game.
Right. No. That's why I think a lot of people are probably, not excited about Cooper Rush going out there and playing, because they feel like they'd already the hay's in the barn. And I know we're halfway through this thing, but it just seems like that even when they had full complements of players on defense against the Saints, they got blasted.
Right. How about this, guys? If you only watched one football game this year, okay, you're in the military and you're stationed somewhere and you have no access to TV or internet, but they let you come home and watch one game. And you saw the Saints and the Cowboys here in week 3, week 2?
Week 2.
And then you found out this week, they say, hey, remember that game you went to, they fired the head coach. And you're like, oh, man, I feel sorry for McCarthy. It's like, no. They fired the coach that beat that team 47-10.
Absolutely. Oh, no, this happens. It happens every year. And there's certain teams.
That's ridiculous.
There's certain teams you want to play early and late.
Yep.
There's certain teams that the Cincinnati Bengals, you never want to catch the Bengals late.
No.
You just don't. Because Joe Burrow and that crew figures it out. And here's Dallas I don't know if it'll matter or not, Dallas with a December game against Cincinnati. And it might not matter for either team at that point.
Right. But anyway, it's like we talked to Brad about it. We talk about it all the time. If you want to know who's going to win, tell me who's going to play. Yeah. And the Saints got decimated with injuries. The team the Cowboys saw in week 2 was not the team that got Dennis Allen fired.
Yeah.
But,
It's Babe Laufenberg with us here on the Fan. Well, Kellen Moore returns. Kellen Moore revenge game as the play caller here for the Eagles. What have you seen from him? Does it look like the same type of offense he was running when he was here? And do you imagine he's going to be out for blood in style points today?
I do not, only because that's not Kellen Moore's style or personality. I knew before the Detroit game they were out for blood.
Yeah.
They were out for blood. They were like a lion that was going to feed on the carcass, and they did. Kellen Moore I think, is coming in here to win a football game. Again, I don't think his ego allows him to sit there and say, boy, I hope we run up the score, blah, blah, blah. They want to win the football game, obviously, just so they can get to 7-2. But as far as the difference is, Philadelphia ran 0 shifts and motion.
Yes.
Now he's incorporated that. Obviously, he grew up in Boise State's offense, which no one shifted and motioned more in the country in college football than Boise State. Now, the other difference in the offense is he's never had a running quarterback, right? He's got a running quarterback now in Jalen Hurts. So you can do a lot more within that offense of the RPOs and things of that nature, which they do. So that's a little bit different in terms of if you're looking at Kellen Moore's offense from what you saw here and then what we're going to see today.
Yeah, babe, I just want to make sure that when we get to 2 Guys, 1 Booth, we play our audio for our weekly show, when you guys, you and Brad are on that, when they throw the ball to Lane Johnson for a touchdown, please give Eric and I credit for asking you that question. It would mean a lot to our ratings and to our show on 105.3 The Fan.
The minute that happens, I will do it. Hey, and we all know, Kellen Moore likes the little razzle-dazzle.
Oh, sure.
And I remember, they didn't do any of it the one year, and I asked him when he was here, right? And I said, Kellen, what happened to all the... He said, we have no one that can throw the football. They went through everybody. If you remember, Cedric Wilson was the guy that did all that on the gadget plays. Right. And he played quarterback in high school, and he could throw a little bit. He said, they lined everybody up. They didn't have a guy that could throw it. I said, okay, well, that explains why you're not doing the trick plays.
Babe Laufenberg with us here on the Fan. Would you like to see any Trey Lance today?
That's a good question, and obviously been thinking about it all week. The problem with putting in that package for Trey Lance is you only have a couple days really to practice, right? And every rep that Trey Lance is getting at quarterback is a rep that Cooper Rush is not. And we saw Trey Lance make a lot of bad decisions down at the goal line, right? 5 interceptions against the Chargers in his final preseason game. So do you really want to put the ball in the hands of that guy? I don't.
All right, there it is. Babe Laufenberg, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it as always, Babe. Enjoyed the game. We'll be listening.
Okay, and nobody is going to be looking more closely for Lane Johnson to go out for a pass.
Oh, no,
give
get
you
ready.
Guys credit.
Hey.
Give you guys credit than me.
Hey, I'm telling you, Babe, Lane Johnson's got eye black on. He's catching a ball today.
Yeah,
all right?
if he comes out wearing gloves, Babe, you know it's about to happen.
Hey, well, you know the guy was a high school quarterback? Did you
Oh,
know
yeah.
that?
He was
Super
absolutely great athlete.
So he's an athlete,
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
See you, Babe. There he goes, Babe Laufenberg. Today's game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium is brought to you by American Airlines, the official airline of the Dallas Cowboys. We are 1 hour and 45 minutes to a Cowboy kickoff here at AT&T Stadium. Around the NFL, we'll take a look at some of the scores that are taking place in the early slate of games, and then we'll go behind enemy lines with the voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese. That's all next right here on The Fan.
You don't want to miss the next Dallas Cowboys touchdown just because you went to the local store to buy lottery tickets, do you? Now, you don't have to.
Free home or business evaluation today. Call 888-GO-ARROW or visit arrowexterminators.com.
Gacatera moves to his right. Here goes Hurts. Going for the end zone. Devontae Smith, he cornered one-handed. I don't know if he stayed. He's in! He's in!
Oh, my goodness.
One hand! I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he did it. And stayed in.
Simply amazing.
It is really an unbelievable touchdown.
All right, it's time to go behind enemy lines with the voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese, here as we are just over 90 minutes to kick off with the hated, filthy Eagles in town. We just got word Tyler Guyton, the rookie left tackle, is inactive with a bit of a shoulder issue, and so it'll be Austin Richards starting at left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys today. We'll get the scoop from Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales coming up here in just a few minutes, but right now it is time to welcome in Eagles play-by-play man Merrill Reese here on The Fan. Merrill, thanks for the time, man. Happy game day. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Great. I still don't know how he did it.
Still don't know how he did it. Still don't know. Yeah, you've been able to see some pretty amazing plays just in the last couple of weeks here with your Eagles. I mean, the Saquon reverse hurdle, I can't imagine what your reaction was to that.
It was hysterical.
Yeah, that's understood. That's understood. It was pretty next level, and the Saquon stuff seems to be working out for these Eagles right now, huh?
Yeah, he is the greatest back they have had in a long, long time.
I'll tell you what, that's saying a lot there, Merrill. I mean that. I know you do. I can think of like Wilbur Montgomery, and I think of some others that have come through there in Philadelphia that have done pretty good. So that's high praise from you.
Well, you know what? Shady McCoy was taken into the Eagles Hall of Fame last week.
Sure.
So he was there when Saquon did all of those things. And one of the great things about Shady is he always stayed healthy. So you have to look at all of that. And they have had great backs. They had Wilbur Montgomery. They had, you remember Brian Westbrook and the great things he did.
Yeah.
They had Ricky Waters for a while. And Shady. But I'll tell you this, he is a mixture of power and maneuverability. He is unbelievable. He said, now you see him, now you don't back, and Saquon's just carrying this team.
Hey, Merrill, it's always so good to hear your voice when we come in.
It's good to hear you, Bryan.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Eric always accuses me of being in love with you, and I am. I'm going to admit it on air here. This is one of my favorite guys in the National Football League.
Yeah, no, it's documented. It's well documented at this point, Merrill. I mean, it's supposed to be a heated rivalry. You're supposed to come in. We're supposed to be trash
this guy
talking.
took great care of me.
And Broaddus just has nothing but glowing things to say about you, Merrill.
This is one of the best human beings in the world right here.
Well, I don't know about that, but I will tell you that when Bryan was with the Eagles in personnel, I used to go into his office and sit down, and in my head I had a chart where I would just soak up the things he told me. Bryan taught me so much about football.
Well, thank you, Merrill. I appreciate you being so nice. You and I used to talk about quarterbacks a lot.
Yep.
And this one looks like, though, he's found something with Kellen Moore, and he's also, as you mentioned, Saquon Barkley. He looks like a different player out there and playing with a lot of confidence. He just looks like that he's the type of guy that Howie Roseman and those guys ever believed he was going to be.
Well, I think he's special. I think he is really special. You have to remember, guys, that this is a quarterback that went through 5 different coordinators in 5 different years. And it was always a different system. And last year was kind of a mess at the end. But let me tell you something. Early in this season, when he was turning the ball over a lot, I think that was a product of nobody playing, no regulars playing during the preseason. And even during the training camp days, no tackling to the ground. He had to get used to the system. I think all over the NFL, the first 4 games, the September games, are really reminiscent of what the preseason games used to be years ago.
It's Merrill Reese, voice of the Eagles, with us here on The Fan. These wide receivers are pretty dang incredible as well here. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Have teams been able to really do anything to slow these guys down?
Not when you have both of them. This is the best pair of wide receivers the Eagles have ever had. And I can say that with all honesty, and considering that my partner in the booth is Mike.
Yeah.
Crick, and he played with Harold Carmichael. But
sure
remember
did.
this. When Mike and Harold played together, it was the end of Harold's career, and Mike was a rookie who only had 10 catches. So, but you put these, there have been other good ones like Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin, but this is the best pair.
Merrill, it looks like that Howie's hit on a couple of these rookie defensive backs when you look at Mitchell and DeJean. And I was kind of wondering when he was going to put DeJean into the lineup there with Maddox. That's been a difference for this Eagles defense when it comes to, and you guys play all that nickel. You play you play with all those defensive backs. DeJean and Mitchell have been outstanding for you guys.
Well, the funny thing is, neither one of them gives you any feeling that they're rookies. They say that when Quinyon Mitchell came here, he was ready to go from day one. And then, of course, the injury to Cooper DeJean during the summer, he had a hamstring, so he hardly played during the summer. But once he took to the field, he learned quickly, and they have a great coordinator in Vic Fangio. So it's a matter of coaching, talent, and maturity. These guys are the most mature 23, 24-year-olds you've ever seen.
What would you say is the core of this defense, like the strength of it right now? Because it was for so long, it was the pass rush, but these defensive tackles seems like there's some big monsters there in the middle.
Well, last week we just saw a great game. We saw a great game from Jalen Carter. But there's a guy on this defense who was a free agent from the Saints, had never played inside linebacker. Watch him today, number 53. His name is Zach Vaughn. He has really been the best player on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, he stands out. He stands out in a huge way. He's been fantastic, and really just the whole defense. It's so young, Merrill. Like you look at outside a couple of guys that they've really rebuilt this thing. It feels like in 1 year.
Well, I don't know if they've rebuilt it in 1 year, but there were guys who were here who just didn't play a big role before. This is the third year for Nakobe Dean, and he had some injuries to get over, but this year he's playing very, very well, and in fact saved the game last week.
Hey, Merrill, I looked down that roster and I saw that Jeremiah Trotter, and I started having flashbacks to his dad when we drafted him in '98, and that just tells you how damn old I am right now. When his dad, was such a great player for the Eagles, and I was so proud to draft him that way. How is his son fit in? I know he's in a backup role, but I'm just curious about the kid, and has he got these old man's traits at all?
Well, he's a different kind of linebacker. He's not as big as the original Trot.
Right.
But he's very, very quick. He's very, very bright. He's got passion. He plays a lot of special teams now. When he has to go in at linebacker, he does that well. One day, he will be a very solid NFL linebacker.
Behind Enemy Lines with Merrill Reese, the voice of the Eagles here on The Fan. It's a Kellen Moore return to AT&T Stadium game. Is he looking at this like a revenge game? Is he going to be out for blood and style points today, Merrill?
I don't know that. I don't honestly know that because Kellen Moore keeps to himself. He's a very nice guy. He's a very bright guy. But he's not a guy who's going to say, well, I'm going back to AT&T Texas Stadium and I'm going to show them. You guys know Kellen Moore. That's not him. He's quiet, he's professional, and he keeps his emotions to himself.
Wow, the opposite of head coach Nick Sirianni, huh?
you might say that.
Yeah.
How loud and ridiculous would it be in Philadelphia tomorrow if some way, somehow, Cooper Rush finds a way to beat these Eagles today, Merrill?
I probably won't get out of bed.
Hey, Merrill, I saw is Big Dom wearing a headset now?
It's Big Dumb, I think.
Big Dumb? Is he wearing a headset now on the sideline?
Is he? I don't know.
Okay, I thought someone was telling me he's down there kind of like coaching him up and stuff like that.
No. He's not a coach, but he is the security director.
Sure,
and he's really a great guy.
He was very nice on that. We were going down. It's when he got suspended for a couple of games. We were going down, and the Eagles were in town, and he was very gracious. I went up and introduced myself and told him I knew you and others in the Eagles. He used to work with the Eagles, and very nice guy. Yeah,
he's a great guy. The Eagles are lucky to have him in the organization. He takes care of a lot of off-the-field things.
Sure.
How hot could the seat be for Sirianni? Like, what do you think is the expectation for him he has to meet in order to keep his job this year, Merrill?
Well, you're talking about a coach who has been here 3 years, and he's been to the playoffs every year, and he's been to a Super Bowl.
Sure.
So why should he be under that kind of fire unless the bottom falls out the way it did last year? But I think he's in good shape. I think he's a very good coach. He's a very He's a very passionate guy, as you know. Players love and respect him, and he's doing everything he can to put this team in a position to win. So I don't think you could use the word hot seat around Nick Sirianni and be accurate using it.
Well, we know that you, sir, are on that cool throne. Congratulations on the 2024 Pete Rozelle Radio Television Award presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's pretty incredible, Merrill. How good does that gold jacket feel on your body?
Well, I didn't get a gold jacket. That's for the players. I got a plaque. A very, very nice plaque, but just the fact that I was there and got to give a speech to 4,000 people, it was a wonderful, wonderful tribute, and I am humbled by it. I really am.
Well, it's always a treat.
One day, by the way, let me just tell you something. One day, and I'm sure soon, Brad Sham will get the Pete Rozelle Award.
Without question.
So.
There you go.
That's right. Two legends. Merrill, we appreciate the time as always, man. I would say good luck today, but I'd be lying.
I know you would, and that's okay. That's what you're supposed to feel.
There he goes, super stud and longtime voice of the Eagles, Merrill Reese, behind enemy lines here on the Fan. And I'll tell you what, the one silver lining to filthy overtaking AT&T Stadium is the fact that the menu ends up presenting, courtesy of Legends Hospitality, the single greatest cheesesteak in all of the land. I will break it down for you, but first we're going to pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on your home of America's Team 105.3 The Fan.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Oh, it is a fan favorite since 1999, the Cowboys cheesesteak. Sliced sirloin, grilled to perfection with the onions and the secret cheesesteak seasoning, piled high on a soft hoagie bun and topped with that beautiful, delicious jalapeno jack queso. It is to die for every time, and Legends Hospitality has it on the menu once again today with the Eagles in town. The Cowboys cheesesteak, it is here, and if you're making your way to AT&T Stadium today, make sure you do yourself that favor and cash in on the best cheesesteak in all of America. Now, are you sipping on a vanilla shake? What
It's a vanilla shake.
Right there?
Yeah, they put 5 different shakes in front of us. Strawberry. It looks like some type of Oreo cookie shake over here. I'm drinking the vanilla one, and then the straight just chocolate one. That shake is outstanding.
Oh my gosh,
it
dude.
is really, really
and
good.
It's in a beautiful Cowboys AT&T Stadium chalice that, of course, you'll be taking home with you to remember the day that Cooper Rush won the first home game of the Cowboys season and took down Kellen Moore and the Eagles. He's playing coy with us right there, Merrill is. He's your buddy, and and I get it. He's a nice guy. He's playing
You're
coy.
saying that they will burn the city if they lose today?
No, I'm talking about him saying, I don't know if Kellen Moore's personality. He's such a nice guy. He's such a sweet boy with his baby face. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He doesn't want to run up the score. He doesn't want unsportsmanlike conducts. He doesn't even want petty allegations thrown his way. He's such a sweetheart. Give me a break. Kellen Moore wants to put up triple digits today if he can. If he could give Saquon Barkley 100 yards on the first carry of the game, and then he will just stare down across the field Mike McCarthy as he's breaking his tablet for the second week in a row. That's what Kellen Moore wants today. Everybody wants to tell me how sweet and nice of a guy, the boy genius, the wonder kid, Kellen Moore. No. He wants to go full Ben Johnson on these fools today.
How do you say that? Is it Wonder Kid or Wunder Kid?
The Wonder Kid. I don't know. I may have said it wrong. I was impassioned there.
I think there was a Ted Lasso
for the
episode on that.
I don't know what we've done for the last 90 minutes. It's everybody saying, well, I can't. He's just a sweet guy.
Yeah.
Give me a break. He wants to put 50-plus on the board, and I hope Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer have something up their sleeve to not allow that to happen, because the way you're getting outscored at home this season, it's frustrating on a multitude of different levels. You're not only looking for your first win here at AT&T Stadium of the season, but my goodness, you've been outscored 119-53. Kellen Moore's looking at that 119-53 right now in the locker room, and he's just salivating over it. And he's like, I'm going to make that 119, I'm going to turn that into a 200. That's what he wants to do here, okay? So Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer and these guys, you have a return of Micah Parsons. Hopefully shows up with a little spirited energy today, Micah. Would like to see that.
They're going to need something, though, because with all hands on deck at Philadelphia, that play sheet is going to look really inviting for him just dialing up plays all day with all those weapons.
But, the Eagles do have a couple of places that they can be taken advantage of. I want you to say his name again, Fred Johnson.
Yeah.
Fred Johnson. That guy should have a target on his jersey.
He should.
And he should be getting a healthy helping of Micah Parsons. And, I don't know, maybe we get overshown on him. But actually, that was a question I wanted to ask you. You talk about Saquon out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And he's wheel routing it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's catching passes. What is the game plan for that? Who is the guy that is tasked with covering him? Is that a, hey, overshown,
I don't know if you necessarily
it?
saw it. We've kind of seen some wheel routes. Remember at the San Francisco game with Deebo Samuel in the backfield with our guy Eric Kendricks having to carry that route.
That's a mismatch.
Yeah, you're going to get.
Don't put my guy Eric in a situation like that. It's unfair to the player.
If you see Saquon Barkley offset in the backfield and, like, say, trip receivers to, like, the right side,
yeah,
that thing is going 3 down inside and 1 on the wheel. They're going to make whoever's covering have to deal with that. Dallas hadn't covered a wheel route all year. I mean, it just has not. And the one thing that Philadelphia's been able to show is they're pretty good doing it.
Well, that's going to be tough sledding then. How do you like the matchup? Dallas Goedert. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we saw George Kittle have his way versus Donovan Wilson for about 3 quarters until they switched it up. Wanye Thomas came in. Last week versus Kyle Pitts, thought he was going to have a nice game, but then it was Izzy McCwamu, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What's the plan today for Goddard?
Yeah, this is going to be different because Goddard is more of a delay. Like we saw that with Kittle, kind of delay, and then go in route. Mm-hmm. So you lose track of him. But he's more of a drag type of, not the vertical player you see from Kittle.
Okay.
You see a lot of check and then go, but then drag it to where he gets hit on the move and then he's able to get up the field. That's how he's going to play. So they're going to me, when I look at it, people will say, geez, Broaddus, you know, you got to worry about Smith and you got to worry about Brown. I agree about the Smith part of it. Brown to me is the vertical player up the field when you're talking about a deep shot, though. When you look at with Smith, and then I think the next place that he wants to go, Hurts, he wants to throw it to Dallas Goedert. That right there, both these tight ends can catch the football. So Dallas has shown a problem having to deal with tight ends. Last week you mentioned it was good, but up until last week. But what did they do? McCwamu, Lewis, they kind of treated these tight ends like they were receivers. And so you put corners on them and then make them have to deal with that.
You know who I'm already just a little bit queasy about in this one? It's the rookie, Kalen Carson.
Are you?
I think there's going to be some, there's Carson on Devontae Smith. There's Carson on A.J. Brown.
There's no reason.
You better give him help all day.
Yeah, there's no reason for Hooker or Wilson or those guys, if they're playing at depth, to kind of cheat to 21 side. You know, you got to hope, like you say, Diggs, we trust you to take whoever you got to take one-on-one. But if that safety could cheat a little bit to Carson's side, that I think would be something. Carson right now I don't think he has a lot of confidence, but all of a sudden you get early in this football game and he's able to make a couple of stops or knock down a couple of balls, then you might see, okay, we feel a little bit better about him. Okay, he's going to give up a play or two.
For sure.
You know, corners do.
Yes.
But, man, you can't be 7 for 7 on targets and catches like it was last week.
Right. And I think you see him settling into games a little bit. Like you mentioned, he'll get some confidence going at some point. But early in games, even I remember in the preseason, it was probably the first preseason game, and of course, it's a rookie first game.
Yeah.
Jitters, your legs probably feel a little bit like Jell-O that first series. I totally understand it, but they're attacking him from the jump, and then he starts to settle in, and that's something that I think you've seen quite a bit. Like that first quarter, the Eagles have been slow scoring the ball in the first quarter. They hadn't scored all season in the first quarter until last week, but if I was them trying to get the offense going outside, of course, feeding Saquon, taking a shot, A.J. Brown on Kalen Carson or Devontae Smith, that feels like a huge Eagle advantage there offensively, so something for Zimmer to certainly watch out for. Now, we got the news about Tyler Guyton, your starting left tackle, your rookie, first-round pick. He is going to be out, and it's Awesome Richards that'll be starting at left tackle. So what's the fallout from that and all the other inactives and need-to-know info from the best in the business? Christy Scales, Cowboys sideline reporter. She gives us the scoop. Under an hour and 20 minutes to kick off, and we're back at AT&T Stadium here on The Fan.
Dallas Cowboys fans know a thing or two about legacy, commitment, and loyalty. That's why Kohler
krld-fm.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
We're under an hour and 15 minutes to kick off Cowboys and Eagles here at AT&T Stadium, and it's time to get the scoop from the best in the business, Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales. She's on the turf inside of AT&T Stadium, and she joins us now here on The Fan. Christy, happy game day. No Tyler Guyton at left tackle, the first-round pick, the rookie. What's the deal with that? I'm a little bit surprised.
Yeah, well, it's really more the shoulder than the neck. And I was hopeful that he would be able to play today, but when he came out early in pregame warm-ups, he actually didn't do any of the warm-ups. He came out and was, walking down the sideline and sitting on the bench, talking with some of the other players, mainly practice squad guys that aren't going to be playing today. But what'll often happen is a guy who is questionable. Sometimes they'll do the pregame workout with the trainers, and the coaches will be nearby. That's what they did last week with Trayvon Diggs. A really extensive pregame workout to see if he'd be able to play last week in Atlanta with that calf injury, and Diggs ultimately did play. They didn't do any of that pregame with Guyton, so that's when I figured that it would be Awesome Richards who's starting at left tackle today.
Okay, and last time when Guyton was out, they had Tyler Smith bump out from guard to tackle. What went into the thinking behind Awesome Richards getting a start today?
Well, two reasons. You don't want to make two changes along the offensive line to replace one guy, which is what they did, as you say, when they kicked Tyler Smith out from left guard to left tackle, and they had to insert Bass at left guard, so two changes there. But the other thing is Awesome Richards making progress, even though he's only played 4% of offensive snaps this year, just 23 snaps so far through 8 games. He did play left tackle in college, so that's his more natural position. And I'm also just told two things: consistency in practice, and then just his approach in preparation. A student of the game and takes the preparation and the study very seriously. But I asked one of the offensive assistants, when a guy's practice squad or a backup guy and they don't get to work a lot in practice, first team, how do you have consistency? Well, he says even though you play scout team, you see the fundamentals, right? Are they still doing everything correctly even though they're on the look team? And so they like what they've seen from Awesome Richards, and so he's going to get a chance today in place of Guyton.
Christy, will you shoot me the other inactives if you got them?
Yeah, sure. The other inactives, of course, Dak Prescott, who, by the way, will be here in the bench area. The plan is to leave tomorrow to go to New York to get another opinion for that hamstring injury. So Dak is inactive, but will be down here in the bench area. Deron Bland inactive. We mentioned Tyler Guyton. Jonathan Mingo, who they received in the trade last week from Carolina, only had the 1 day of practice, and they just not quite ready yet. So Mingo is inactive. And then running back Deuce Vaughn inactive. And we know that Dalvin Cook was not elevated from the practice squad this week. So that means that you have just the 3 running backs this week. You've got Rico Dowdle, who this will be like last week in Atlanta. This will be Rico's game. His backup will be Zeke Elliott. And then, of course, Hunter Lipke will he's been getting a lot of snaps, right, guys? Playing, a little bit of F, right, and, tight end and things like that. So those 3 guys, that's what we'll see at running back.
Christy, is a little surprise from you maybe that no Dalvin Cook? I just studying the Eagles, I felt like that edge rushing was going to be key today. I felt like Dalvin Cook's kind of his game is getting that ball to the edge if he could.
Not really. I'm not surprised that Zeke is up and active today. So I'm not surprised by that. But you're like, hey, Deuce Vaughn has been active the last couple of weeks. Why is he inactive if you didn't promote Dalvin Cook? Well, it's because Deuce really doesn't do that much on special teams, especially now that they have Kevontae Turpin as the single kick returner instead of splitting sides. And by the way, another one of the inactives that I didn't mention, Wanye Thomas, the safety, he suffered the concussion last week. He's inactive. And then backup defensive end KJ Henry is the final inactive there. But with Deuce Vaughn and not getting a lot from him on special teams and coverage and things like that, that's the reason why they elevated Jalen Cropper for the first time. So he'll be getting his first regular season action. This is a guy who was a wide receiver who was on the practice squad last year, practice squad again this year, had a good camp and some good plays along the way in preseason. But he's a guy that he can be a backup wide receiver because Mingo's inactive. He's not ready yet after one practice. But Cropper can also give you the work on teams that you wouldn't get from Deuce in coverage.
Hey, Christy, Eric and I all morning have been talking about Kellen Moore kind of revenge game, and everybody tells us, no, Kellen's a great guy. He would never do that. They're kind of going on and on. You think that they're going to see something from him today?
I think they will, and that's not just my opinion. That's people in player personnel and staff and stuff down here. Kellen is a great guy, and he is mild-mannered on the outside, and he's actually wicked funny. You know, that sly kind of funny. But great guy. Always loved visiting with Kellen, even though he wouldn't give you anything on the record. But they point out how competitive Kellen is. And it won't be, just to stick it in their eye. Nothing like that. It's just that, they think that he'll have a few special things ready for today, and especially with those weapons that he has with the Eagles offense.
No doubt. Okay, good. I'm glad
somebody's honest about this.
Yeah, everybody wants to act like Kellen Moore, just a sweet, sensitive guy, doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm like, come on, he wants to go out there and he wants to get all the style points. I think he's going to be out for blood today, and he's got the amount of talent that you feel like he really could do something like that with the amount of guys on this offense. But good news for the Cowboys today, Christy. Micah Parsons back for the defense. What type of role do you expect to see from Micah today?
Yeah, I'm not told that he's on any kind of snap count or pitch count or anything like that. And when Micah spoke to the media after practice on Wednesday, he said that the same thing. If I'm playing, I'm playing. So he's been champing at the bit, right, to get back, but has also been smart about it and not coming back too early. So we know that this Cowboys pass rush really needs it, really needs the boost. And so you've been playing without your top 4 pass rushers for the past several weeks. That's if you include Sam Williams, who of course had the preseason injury and has been on IR all year. But now you got your number 1 guy back. So and I think just from a confidence boost and where things have not been going well this season, I think it's just kind of that little added thing, a little extra juice that is really going to pick up this unit.
How's it feeling inside the building right now? Is this,
yeah, it's really cool.
Eagle crowd?
Oh, there's quite a bit of green so far, including my cousin-in-law, Tony, wearing his green Hurts jersey. So he will not be getting a Christmas gift from our side of the family this year. But no, there is quite a bit of green. By the way, they are keeping the building closed today. Originally, the thought was they would open the doors, but instead going with the doors closed. So if it's nice, maybe when they play the Monday night game in 8 days against the Houston Texans, I almost said Oilers, against the Texans.
I
caught myself
the fact
last
you
second.
said the Oilers and loved it. Yeah,
there we go. Hey, I'm a Galveston native, BOI, born on the island, so it's hard to break the habit. But no, closed today, but hopefully the next game, if the weather's good, they can open it up then.
Awesome, Christy. You're the best. Anything else we need to know before we let you go?
No, just kind of want a fun little scouting report from special teams, because I love teams.
Yes,
right?
all 3 phases.
Okay, well, so Cooper DeJean, right, the high draft pick, second-round pick, the defensive back who's their punt returner. I'm told he is late to call for fair catches, so that's going to require a lot of discipline. If you are a gunner coming down, that he doesn't do side to side, it's vertical, and he always carries the ball in his right hand. So if you're making the play, you know where to punch that football. So I like sharing these little nuggets with you, and let's see if any of it manifests itself on a return today.
Yes, that's beautiful, because we're looking for a win. We're going to need something like that today,
and Christy, by the way, Bryan Anger throws the ball to his right is where he throws it, to his right. And not in the direction of a receiver, but in a defensive back. That's to his right. If you remember that,
what was so crazy about the play last week was the one who made it for the Falcons was the guy who had been elevated from the practice squad the day before.
Yeah, there you go.
Incredible.
Always a hero, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
Always a hero.
Exactly.
Christy, you're the best. We appreciate it, and we look forward to catching up with you next hour.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, Christy Scales, best in the business, bringing us all the need-to-know info. So, of course, I think what stands out from her report there, I mean, Tyler Guyton not playing, insert Awesome Richards. I guess that's a kind of a tip of the cap to the youngster, maybe developing in some ways here.
Yeah,
they have confidence enough in him.
Oh, yeah, this might be a situation, too, with a thing with, Guyton is a young guy. And, along the way, you got to learn the difference between maybe being hurt and being injured, and then finding a way to grow up and kind of fight through some things if you can.
I got you.
So, those are the kind of, hey, you just don't kind of, when you have a rookie guy, take a step back, and he kind of played through the game last week.
Mm-hmm.
He played through the end of the game, and I was like thinking, okay, well, he's just going to, he's going to miss a couple of days or miss a day and then fight through, and then, but you got to learn. You got to, there's like, you look at a guy like Zach Martin, he's a Hall of Fame player. Don't get me wrong, I understand. But Zach Martin missed a couple practice. What does Zach Martin do? He finds a way to go play.
Right.
That's what you maybe have to think about with these young guys. You got to fight through some things. Know the difference between pain and then know and injury as well.
Yeah, hurt and injured. Oh, yeah. I was always told two different things.
Two different things.
Hurt and injured. And CeeDee Lamb, obviously a little bit banged up. Doesn't seem like he's injured, though he was in some serious pain last week.
Right.
Do we feel good about him lasting the entirety of today's game? Or is that kind of a question mark? You're coming in waiting to see him get popped a couple of times.
Yeah, that's damn good and well that any shot that they're going to take, this secondary, that they could take on CeeDee Lamb, they're going to test him right off the jump. And you have to worry about him going up and catching the football and then coming down on that shoulder. That might be even more of an issue than the actual, maybe the Eagles taking some shots at him.
Who's the guy? Where do you want to see them try and take advantage of Lamb versus somebody? You get him in the slot. Can you match him up on one of these safeties?
Yeah, that's the whole idea for me is that it's with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's the one guy that when you look at the number of catches, it was 12 receptions, 4 touchdowns. So he's had some problems when it comes to having to deal with some receivers along the way. Mm-hmm. And Vic Fangio will walk him over into the slot, or maybe if there's a trips, will walk him down over to cover. So if I'm Cooper Rush, I'm trying to find where number 8 is on this field. I'm going to look at I'm like, okay, where is number 8? Is he in coverage? Does he look like he's helping in coverage? Because that's the direction I'm kind of throwing the ball. You get him one-on-one on some people, that could be a third down conversion if you have to.
How much is it going to change things not having Guyton? I mean, I know he hasn't been playing out of this world, but
but he's gotten better.
He has been trending in the right direction, and now you throw in Awesome Richards, and now I'm wondering if they're scrambling here before kickoff trying to put a plan together from a pass protection standpoint.
Well, it's going to be about Josh Sweat, and it's going to be about Bryce Huff. Those are the two. And I mentioned those guys. That Huff's played less and less, because he hasn't really lived up to the billing of what he had coming from the Jets. Brandon Graham, you got to worry about Brandon Graham because Brandon Graham has a history of killing the Cowboys right now.
Oh, he does. Yeah. He's the edge setter, and he's the veteran dude. He's the been there, done that kind of guy, leader of a young defense that's been flying around. Well, the Eagles fans have actually been kind of respectful to this point here in the Miller Lite West Plaza, but we are just about 60 minutes to kickoff now here at AT&T Stadium. Still to come on the pregame show, we'll hear from head coach Mike McCarthy. We'll go into the owner's box with the Jones boys. All that and more coming up next right here on The Fan.
It's here, the most electrifying event of the holiday season, Cowboys Christmas Extra.
Deutsch Family Wine and Spirits, official wine of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T, the official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
Also brought to you by
Bell Nunnally, behind every great company. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Jack Link's, feed your wild side. Volleman's Dairy, the official milk of the Dallas Cowboys. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here's Eric Chiofalo and Bryan Broaddus.
All right, the hated Eagles are in town, and we are under 60 minutes to a Cowboy kickoff. Welcome to the official pregame show of America's team. Great to be with you on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, live from the Miller Lite West Plaza of AT&T Stadium. This will be the 127th all-time meeting between these two teams. Cowboys looking for win number 72 all-time versus the Eagles, and victory number 1 here at home this season, Broaddus. It's crazy to consider the fact, but you're a Super Bowl champion. You are a former scout of the Cowboys. You worked for the Eagles. You see these Eagles now coming into town with Kellen Moore running the show offensively. What's the path to victory for the Cowboys today? Cooper Rush, of course, starting for Dak.
Yeah, it's really going to be, I think, defensively, how you're able to match up against the Eagles, especially with their skill guys, on the outside. I talked about it earlier. If I had to kind of power rank who I would worry about the most, take Barkley out of it because I think he's a whole different subject for you running the football. But when it comes to throwing the ball, I think with Smith, with Brown, and then also with Goddard I would look at Smith, Goddard, then Brown. But they're going to, he's going to make you, Kellen Moore is going to make you defend the entire field playing. He's going to run the ball on the edge with Barkley. He's going to throw the screens. He's going to throw the slants. He's going to throw the hitches. He's going to throw the wheel. There's so many things that he can do with this crew. Now, can he find a way to protect his left tackle? His left tackle, Fred Johnson, has been giving up the most of the pressures here. Landon Dickerson, who plays next to him, has been giving up some pressures as well. But are they going to have to run the football? You look at the teams that really have come in here and smashed the Cowboys offensively. The Saints, the Ravens really didn't have to throw the football. Dallas faces the least amount of drop-back passes of any team in the league. Why? They don't play run defense. They play heavy box. They can't get enough bodies in there to play defense. Teams aren't fearing heavy box. Dallas can't get them out of, or Dallas can't get opponents out of. They're going to keep running the ball. They're going to say, okay, fine. You put 8 down there. We're counting on the 7th or the 8th guy missing a tackle. That's what that's how teams view you right now.
Right.
And it's really, really difficult. Barkley's difficult to tackle. Gainwell's difficult to tackle. So the path of victory, it's probably going to be about, will Jalen Hurts make some mistakes along the way, and can you take advantage of those?
And he's been taking care of the football quite a bit.
He's done a great job.
He's done a really nice job with that. All right, we continue the preview brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Cooper Rush getting the start. Tyler Guyton out at left tackle. Insert Awesome Richards. What do you think is possible for the Cowboys offense today?
Well, it's going to be, like I say, the Eagles have done a nice job when it comes to the secondary. I think taking Maddox off the nickel has really benefited the defense overall. Cooper DeJean has done a fine job stepping in. He'll give up his share. There'll be a couple of times where he'll give up some separation, but most part when you do the drag routes or the underneath routes, this kid's got the speed. He's got the awareness to kind of drive on that ball and make a play. Mitchell at right corner has been, as a rookie. There's 2 rookies we're talking about. Both of them have been really, really, really good. Where they've had some problems has been at the safety spot, especially when they have to play in coverage. Reed Blankenship has had some issues, and then also C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I mentioned him earlier. Find a way to match up these safeties on your best players. If
attack
you can, in attack. That's what you have to. But they have to hold up. I mean, Steele has struggled a little bit at right tackle. This crew, when it comes to pressure, is really big mid-pack. The Eagles, before that, remember those days where it was Eagle pressure, Eagle pressure, Eagle pressure. That's all we ever talked about. This is kind of a mid-pack when it comes to the pressure. They've got 4 victories in a row here. They've played some defense or some offenses that have been kind of challenged, with the exception of the Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns, the Giants, they're
beating up on bad teams.
They're beating up on some bad teams, but that's what you got to do. That's what the Cowboys. You remember last year when they went on their run, they stopped winning games against the good teams, and all of a sudden they started beating up on all the bad teams, and the Eagles are doing that. But that's your schedule. That's what you got to play. And Philadelphia today is dealing with an offense on defense. Philadelphia's defense is dealing with the Cowboys' offense right now that has had its share of struggles as well.
All right, we're under 50 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Let's go inside the building for today's Coach's Corner. It's the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, with your Cowboy head coach, Mike McCarthy. That's next. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Apply now to the...
home victory of the season. We'll go into the owner's box with Jerry Jones here in less than 10 minutes, but right now it's time for Brad Sham's conversation with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Here's today's Coach's Corner.
Thank you, guys. The Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles rivalry is one of the best in the league. It's even better when both teams are in the thick of the race. Right now that's not the case, but it could turn around if the Cowboys can win a game today. But, Mike, first I want to ask you about Dak Prescott, because no one's had an opportunity to hear from him this week, but you're very close to him. I'm just wondering how he is handling, I know he's one of the strongest individuals, but how's he handling this latest physical setback?
I mean, only natural, it's difficult, but he's listening to all the opinions and just really working his way through, all the information so he can make a sound decision.
But his headspace is as clear as it can be under the circumstances?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I mean, it's great having him around every day. So he's still in the meetings. He's at all the walkthroughs, and obviously he's out there at practice. So it's been great to keep him involved. Now,
let's talk about Cooper Rush. Obviously, we all saw 2 years ago what Cooper can do when the chips are down. One of the big things that was different is your defense was differently constituted and performing differently 2 years ago. They helped him out. He didn't have to do anything outside of the ordinary. So how does the way things are right now impact the way you will call a game for Cooper?
Well, I just think like everything, you got to put all the variables, into the bowl and mix them up, and that's why you game plan. And really, I've always just looked at the preparation, the week of preparation. It's been a good week. So defensively, we're getting better. We're actually, as a football team, we've made improvement, from the bye week as a team. So we're looking to improve today and play as well as we need to win this game. So just got to really keep it focused on ourselves. That's what we've been doing.
Besides getting Micah Parsons back, and how do you think he is, what else defensively are you doing better over the last few weeks?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the continuity of communication. I mean, having Eric Hendricks in there makes a huge difference. I mean, he's our quarterback. Things just run so much smoother. I think you see the freedom of some of our young players, playing a little more free. Demo's, I think he's consistently put together some really good, days. Really, the front line rotation, having 8 guys and just trying to get in the flow. It'd be great to have Micah back. He'll start today, so obviously that should have an impact. So just trying to get some continuity.
I know you were asked this during the week. Any kind of a pitch count for Micah? You're just going to watch him and see how he looks as he goes? Yeah,
well, we have a plan. So, he'll start off, and then we'll work that during the first and second quarter, just make sure he's good to go.
All right. We know by now that Tyler Guyton's inactive today, and you made the decision to start Awesome Richards. To me, you could see the difference in him from a year ago as early as training camp. Bigger, stronger. Talk to him, he's more confident. What do you see that you like in him?
Well, I think you've answered it. Bigger, stronger, but most importantly, more experience. He's taken a lot of reps, got a lot of reps in training camp. Tyler Guyton missed significant time there in training camp, so Awesome's been awesome. He's just been steady every day. He's been available, and as a young, frankly, as an NFL player, especially a young player, availability is the most important ability. So he's definitely prepared for this opportunity. He's earned it.
All right, Mike, thanks. Appreciate it. Good luck today.
All right, thank you.
All right, fellas, back to you.
Thank you, Brad Sham. That's today's Coach's Corner as we continue to get you set for Cowboys and Eagles here at AT&T Stadium. Of course, no Tyler Guyton at left tackle for the Cowboys today. No Dak Prescott either, but Micah returns, and that's a beautiful thing. Broaddus, you are our foremost expert as it pertains to the referee crew. Why don't you go ahead and give us today's Zebra Report?
Zebra Report is Alex Kemp is your official. Through 8 games this year, Alex Kemp has kind of favored the home team when it comes to his calls. His crew has called 70 away penalties and 55 home penalties. They average 18 flags a game. Hopefully that won't be the case today, but they've also had 3 dismissed per game, so that's around 15 per game. Offensive holding is huge for this guy. 24 calls for the away team on offensive holding, only 10 for the home team. Defensive holding, that's a little bit more of a kind of a favorable split. It's 13 there with 7 on the aways and 6 to the homes. Delay of game. I always bring up the delay of game. When you play on the road, the delay of game penalties always are kind of big because you worry about that, getting it down into the count and then maybe having to burn some timeouts. We've seen that happen with the Cowboys. but Alex Kemp's crew's 8 delay of game penalties, 4 and 4 home and away split. Their defensive pass interference has been 7. Those are 5 against the home team and 2 against the aways. And then the last one I want to point out is roughing the passer. In 8 games this year, they've had 6 roughing the passer calls, 4 against the home team, 2 against the away team. So he's averaging 1 roughing the passer penalty a game, or getting close to that average. Got to worry about that, though, when you're trying to get to that. You'll probably get respect for Hurts, and will they respect Cooper Rush? If Dak Prescott was playing, maybe that would be a little bit more balanced. But we'll see if Alex Kemp's crew and them cannot call 18 penalties in this game and kind of bog it down.
Yeah, let's get a reduction on the pre-snap penalties as well. That'd be nice. All right, we are now just over 35 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Let's go into the owner's box with Jerry Jones. That's coming up next. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Hey, Dallas football fans. Buffalo Wild Wings will be hosting a weekly football feast live.
Eagles in town. Cowboys looking for that first home win of the season here at AT&T Stadium. Let's go inside the owner's box. Here's Christy Scales standing by with Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones.
Well, this is a very special edition of the owner's box. Salute to service, because Jerry, I know your guest. You've had some really awesome people over the years on the owner's box, but there are 3 people in the world who are both a Navy SEAL and a NASA astronaut, and one of them is here, Chris Cassidy, President and CEO of the National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation. And can you just talk about the Cowboys' involvement with the museum?
Well, first of all, I just can't tell Chris how much that we all appreciate him. The reason we get to play a football game today, the reason we get to do the things we get to do in America is because of the great people that have fought for us. And he's one of them. And of course, we're excited about our great National Museum that honors the great Medal of Honor recipients. And that's real nearby. And from now on, when the Cowboys play, not just to the 100,000 people here, but to the 35, 50, 60 million watching, we want them to see just how much we think of what the Medal of Honor recipients mean to this country, and men like Chris. We're here because of them and their bravery, and we appreciate them so much.
And Chris, the countdown clock is ticking. When can the public first visit the museum? When's the grand opening?
Yeah, we are on the countdown clock, just like it's pregame here today. It's pregame for us in the museum, and we open to the public on March 25th of next year, 22nd a couple days before that. Saturday night will be a big public party for the whole community, the whole nation to enjoy. It's free for everybody to come. So the 25th is the actual grand open to the public.
And as for tickets, but also memberships, are those available, and when will that be available?
Memberships are available right now. You can go to our website, mohmuseum.org. There's a click place to join as a member. That if you join now, that gives the ability to do a sneak preview in those early days before opening, or right around those. So there's kind of incentive to join now. Tickets to the public will be available on our website probably after Christmas in January for pre-sales.
Christy, today we are honoring many of the people that have given money to build the Medal of Honor Museum. Since COVID, the Medal of Honor Museum has raised over $280 million for the museum that's just right next door to our stadium. The more important thing is the recognition of all of those people that have recognized what it's really about. What it's about is to show the young people of this country about patriotism, and to continue to show them, because that is how we got here.
Yeah. And Chris, when people come to visit, and hopefully they come to AT&T Stadium and take a tour as well, but when they do visit the National Medal of Honor Museum, what do you want them to get from that experience?
Well, it's all about inspiration. Those stories are so inspirational. There's 3,519 of those stories, and we want to inspire youth and adults alike so they can go on and be better versions of themselves through the stories of the Medal of Honor recipients. And thank you to the Jones family and the Cowboys for their support along the way, every step of the way from brick number one. It's because of the support of Mr. Jones and his family and the organization that we have all these founders here today. Thank you, sir.
Hey, I do have to ask you a football question, because with Cooper Rush, you want inspiring stories to have the backup come in as he did a couple of years ago and get the wins. What are you expecting from Cooper Rush today?
I think you'll see quick releases. His skill is his quickness of mind. We have always known that he reads it good. He leads his receivers good. So I expect for us to be very effective with him today. It would surprise me if he's not effective. So this is a great opportunity for him. We're going to miss Dak, of course, but he's very capable of winning this game.
We appreciate it so much, Chris, Jerry. Great time. That's the view from the owner's box. And as we continue counting down to the salute to service game, Eagles and Cowboys, let's rejoin Eric and Bryan.
Thank you so much, Christy. And the view from the owner's box today brought to you by Yeti, the official cooler of the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. And now we get to know the enemy, brought to you by Arrow Exterminators, the official pest control provider of the Dallas Cowboys. About 54% of the Eagles' yardage gained this season has been through the air. That's the lowest dependency in the league on the passing attack. I expect a healthy helping of Saquon Barkley for 4 quarters with this Eagles offense and Kellen Moore trying to run it up in a huge way. All right, we're live here at AT&T Stadium. We continue the pregame show. Just over 25 minutes to kick off. Let's go inside the booth with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, coming up next. But first, we're going to go ahead and pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves along the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
All right, coming up next, we'll go inside the booth with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Hey, Dallas Cowboys fans. Hope y'all are ready for game day. We all...
American Airlines. You are why we fly. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, we're under 20 minutes to kick off here at AT&T Stadium. Let's go inside the booth with the voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham, brought to you by the WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Brad, happy game day, man. Do you think this is going to be kind of one of those revenge games here for Kellen Moore? Are you expecting him to have some style points and trick plays and pettiness up his sleeve?
You know, I've heard you ask that of everybody you've talked to in every conversation. And the answer is uniform. That's not who Kellen Moore is. They're trying to win a game. And now that is 100% who Nick Sirianni is.
Yes.
But it's not who Kellen Moore is. They're trying to win a game, and they got one that really is going to be big for them next Thursday at home against Washington. Kellen, you know, if Kellen can show off with a play or something, then, yeah, he'll do that. That'll be great. But he's just trying to win a game.
Brad, you have a master class in how to interview a coach that's having a rough go. And I love your line of questioning to Mike McCarthy, trying to get something from him. This thing at the left tackle spot's going to be big for the Cowboys today, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, there's a story that hasn't fully been written there yet, Bryan. And, you know, I think that there are some questions. You'll never get anybody to say this on the record, but I think there's some questions about Tyler Guyton's toughness.
Exactly.
And I think they are dismayed that he is unable to go today.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, Awesome Richards is a guy who you could tell in training camp he was different than he was last year. He is more confident. He's bigger and stronger. They drafted him for a reason, so let's give him a shot. And I don't think McCarthy really liked moving two pieces at once like they did for that part of the game a few weeks ago.
Yeah. The Saquon Barkley reverse hurdle play from last week, Brad. I mean, did that jump you up out of your seat a little bit?
Oh, man, that's ridiculous. That's like if you've ever seen in a high-quality professional soccer game somebody nail about a 20-yard bicycle kick for a goal, and I've seen that. I've actually called that. That is, I mean, I don't even know how you have the physical instinct to try to turn around and jump over a guy backwards. That was ridiculous.
It
just
really
brilliant.
was. Yeah, totally brilliant. Hopefully we don't see too much of that out of Saquon today. But, Brad, we appreciate the time. As always, enjoy the game. We'll be listening.
All right, fellas. Have a great afternoon.
Yes, sir. There he goes, voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. And now onto the turf of AT&T Stadium so we can welcome in Christy Scales, Cowboys sideline reporter, for her keys to the game. Brought to you by Pollock Aurora, proud supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Christy, what's at the top of your mind right now?
I think that this team is going to have to get some takeaways, and that's where they've been lacking all season, the Cowboys defense. But having Micah Parsons back, their top pass rusher, of course, he's been sidelined with a high ankle sprain since the win over the Giants. But if there's a time that they're going to get going with that, maybe it's today with the return of Micah Parsons, because with a team like the Eagles, with long sustained drives, with the success that they have running the ball, I think that possessions are going to be at a premium today, and so stealing a possession or two will be key for the Cowboys.
Christy, you going to take that ball if you win the toss?
I think I would. They didn't last week against the Falcons, and I was surprised because they had done it the previous couple of weeks.
Right.
I think they go ahead and do it, even with a backup quarterback. But you have confidence in them. Let's see it. You know, go ahead, get a good return from Turpin, score first. They haven't done that enough this season.
Well, this is my fun nugget, and I'm expecting to see it at some point today. Brandon Aubrey, a 50-plus field goal today. That would make him the first kicker in NFL history to make 10 field goals from 50-plus yards in consecutive seasons. Put me down for that. That's my bold prediction for today, Christy. How bold is that?
I love that. I hope that they don't have to be too long for that. The one thing is the Eagles, they are excellent defensively in the red zone. So teams have been stalling in the red zone, and so that means possibly more of Aubrey today if the Cowboys can't. They've struggled all year in the red zone offensively. So hopefully he's not have to kick him from 50 yards plus, but I do expect to see a lot of Aubrey today.
Christy, you're the best. Thanks for the time. We'll be listening.
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Bryan.
There she goes, Cowboys sideline reporter Christy Scales, and now it's prediction time. Broaddus, I'm thinking 34-19.
Yeah.
Eagles get the victory. It's just hard to trust that the Cowboys will be able to keep them out of the end zone. And you're without your starting left tackle.
Right.
You're without your starting quarterback. and this team right here in the Eagles is on a bit of a heater right now.
They are, and I had Eagles 31, Dallas 21, so I'm in the same ballpark with you.
All right. Well, hopefully we are dead balls wrong and the Cowboys get their first victory at AT&T Stadium this season, but that'll do it for us today here in the pregame show. Stick around. Broaddus and Zach Wolchuk will have you for the halftime and the postgame here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Kickoff is around the corner with Brad, Babe, and Christy. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
Tom Thumb's new Drive Up and Go service.